This is not an original comment for this podcast. Danny Gallivan said in 1975 Stanley Cup semifinals where Montreal was playing Buffalo about this player is one of the Rangers' biggest mistake to leave this guy go. He drives the Rangers nuts, Montreal, everybody else. Him and Craig Ramsay are probably the best penalty-killing duo in the NHL. Well, you know who Craig Ramsay is, but this name will probably bring a lot of smiles on the Buffalo Sabres fans. Probably the best defensive player, or defensive offensive player, whatever you want to call it, in Buffalo Sabres history, probably in the 1970s, besides Gainey. Now, today we're talking about the interesting career on the ice and in retirement involved in hockey of Don Luce. Now, if there was ever a mind for hockey, this is the guy. Now, born in the great community of London, Ontario, October 2nd, 1948. Great career in hockey and went on to player development, including being a pro scout for numerous teams. Now, he was drafted by the New York Rangers and eventually played 3 seasons for their farm team after being drafted, the Kitchener Rangers in Kitchener. Now, the major prominence came the first season with Kitchener, where he had 35 points in 47 games, including 16 goals. Now, 6'2", 175, he had a deceptive left-hand shot, playing center, and continued to, impress scouts before he was drafted, of course, NHL and AHL scouts, because a lot of teams, even with the Ranger system, was interested in. He led the OHA in assists with 70 for Kitchener in 68, and he also basically was strong in the CHL, where he won the Adams Cup in Omaha in 1970, and that team, of course, won the regular season title. Now, he made the CHL All-Star first team at Omaha in 1970. Now, the biggest mistake maybe that they ever did, when New York traded him to Detroit on November 2nd, 1970, in exchange for Steve Andrusek. Now, Steve Andrusek, although a talented player, didn't do much, and even Detroit got rid of him. He was traded by Detroit with Mike Robitaille, of all people, to Buffalo, in exchange for Joe Daly on May 25th, 1971. And for the next 10 years, he was one of the most dominant and popular players for Buffalo. Now, Detroit, in 1971, after the trade, he had a combined 67 games with 3 goals and 15 points. But in 72 in Buffalo, the statistics started to build and build continuously. He went from 11 to 18 to 26 to 33 to 21, 26, 26, 26, 14, 15 goals. Every goal he scored was important and scored a lot of shorthanded counters. I think he had 25 with Buffalo to set the league record. Now, Buffalo eventually traded him to the Sabres, and his last season he found his way with all teams of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he was looking for a career post-retirement with Toronto, and it didn't pan out. Now, he won numerous awards in Buffalo for his play. He won their Unsung Hero Award and the Wilkinson Sword Award as the team's most improved player in 72. Yeah, again, he was a thorn in Montreal's side. He had his first postseason assists in 73 versus Montreal, April 4th. He was also the inaugural winner of the Buffalo Sabres Charlie Bartnos Silver Stick Award for dedication and spirit in 73. He was named Buffalo's alternate captain for the 74 season into 75. Again, Buffalo Sabres MVP in 74, and considering Robert, Martin, and Perreault was on this team. He set a Buffalo record for the fastest 3 goals by one player with 3 goals in a span of 3:49, December 22nd at Washington. He, again, most shorthand goals in a game in that contest, All-Star in 75. He set Buffalo single-season records for shorthanders and a plus 61, ladies and gentlemen, in 75. The 8 shorthanded goals were also an NHL record since broken, which knocked off Davey Keon's previous mark of 7. Now, he scored his first postseason shorthanded goal in Buffalo Sabres history on May 3rd, 75 at Montreal. Now, he played again on that Buffalo team in the 75 finals. He also scored a series-winning goal against St. Louis in 76 in the playoffs, won the Billy Masterson Trophy in 75, and he had 7 game-winning goals for Buffalo in 79. Now, he also finished third in the voting for the 1980 Selke Trophy. Now, he was inducted into the Buffalo Sabres Hall of Fame in 86, inducted into the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame in 97, and was the executive with Buffalo team that went to the 99 Stanley Cup Finals. Now, the big problem with him, of course, was a bad hernia operation in 75. So you can imagine that series he bet Montreal, he was playing with a bad hernia. Can you imagine? Now, he's also part of a big hockey family. He's the father of former minor league goalie and NHL Scott Luce, and brother-in-law of former NHL player Mike Boland. Now, non-playing career after he retired, he was named Buffalo Director of U.S. Scouting in 86 and stayed there until 87. He was named Buffalo Director of Amateur Evaluation Development in 87 and continued until 1990. Director of Player Personnel for Buffalo from 91 to 05. Buffalo Director of Player Development for 2006. And a Philadelphia Director of Player Development in late 2006 and stayed there until 2012. Now, he also took time to coach for Pine Bridge of the ACHL in 84, and he was also Buffalo's part-time assistant coach during the 85 campaign. Now, he was also assistant coach in 86 and 87 for the Sabres. Now, he was also a pro scout with Buffalo in 85, and again, a pro scout for the Flyers in 2013, and he's always involved in scouting in one way or another. Now, he was also selected by the Cougars in the NHL WHA draft in 77. Chicago took him. He's also ranks third behind Perreault and Craig Ramsey for most games by Sabre with 766. And again, career shorthanded goals for Buffalo, 25. Now, big line he played on, of course, was Danny Gare and Craig Ramsey. Kind of weird he would put them together but Danny Gare would take a rest when they were killing penalties. But that plus 61, ladies and gentlemen, 1975, says it all. So, now, he also played a key role in helping get Alexander Mogilny out of the Soviet Union into NHL in 89, and for that alone, he owes a million thanks. We really appreciated his efforts in bringing this great talent in the NHL. Now, he also oversaw the Sabres personnel when the Hockey News asked him to rank the team's prospects in the NHL for 1997. So, again, a very cerebral guy. Now, as we go along, now he also brought in Avragenov, Martin Baron, Brian Campbell, and Jason Palmaville. But Alexander Mogilny, again, when you get the top player from Russia to come over, and the Sabres rebirth, like LaFontaine was part of that too. If he wouldn't have lost to Montreal in the 93 playoffs, he probably won the cup that year, in my personal opinion. Now, in these 894 games, 225 goals and 329 assists for 554 points. Now, that career season 75, he set career highs in goals, 33, points 76, shorthanded goals with 8, and again the plus 61. He's also done some scouting with Toronto, as a lot of people know. Now, his grandson is also involved in hockey with Division I with University of Michigan. Great team. And what was kind of bizarre, ladies and gentlemen, when he was playing in the minors with Salt Lake in 82, that was national news because someone that talented getting in there. Now, here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Never won a cup, but he played in 75. Is his 10 years with Buffalo good enough for him to get in the Hall of Fame? Now, here's the question. Name me one of the best defensive players of the 1970s, besides Gainey. Who comes to mind first? Craig Ramsey and Don Luce. Now, would that be enough to get him to the Hall of Fame, being what I call a specialist? Well, ladies and gentlemen, all I can tell you, 6 straight seasons, 20 goals or more, playing predominantly defense against a top line in the other side. And again, the playoff run in 75, the 75 season alone, they were two games away from winning the cup. They should have won the cup that year, but it never happened. it's up to the NHL to decide, but you look at his time off the ice, the way that he motivated the players that he brought in, and as a player, as a defensive specialist, as a dedication to hockey, right now as it stands, if you do a rough math, that's 60 years involved in hockey, from minor hockey to the cerebral level. So is that deserving getting the Hall of Fame? For me, it is. And you may argue, but I'm just saying, if you're going to put Guy Carbonneau in, okay, you got to put Don Luce in, because if things were different, if Don Luce would have came to Toronto or Montreal, he'd have 3 or 4 Stanley Cups by now. He was the piece that Buffalo needed. But 75 was a weird time. You had the Islanders, you had Montreal, you had the Flyers, you had Boston. You had all these. It was a tough year in '75. Again, maybe they got burned out by beating Montreal. I don't know. But if you beat Montreal in their second dynasty of the 1970s, when they're at opposite, they're closer to peak, you deserve some recognition. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the great Don Luce. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And if you disagree with thinking he should be in the Hall of Fame, well, look at the numbers. I mean, you can't dissuade what was already been done. And if the Buffalo needed to stop the high-rolling teams they were playing against, and were it not for those 2 games in the finals against the Flyers, they would have won the cup. Have a good day. Bye.